Well, hello everybody. Hope you're doing good. It is another wonderful day here in Middle Georgia. A little cool. I don't know if you can see the breath, but it is. It's January, so it's kind of cool. And I'm in a t-shirt out here in the shop because the jacket I had on had a logo on it that I cannot put on my channel, so I'll suffer through it. So some big things going on. Starting our first project of the year, and it's for a really neat thing. I don't know if y'all remember. A little while back, I posted a video of a glass blowing that my daughter and I went on, and the gentleman that owns the studio called me and asked if I could make a part for one of their glass furnaces, glass forges. I don't know what the terminology is, but so he's building a new one, and he needs me to do part of it for him. So thought that was neat. It's nothing super fancy. I'm basically making a bucket or a barrel, but it's pretty cool. So where are we? Well, first thing we did is we got the dimensions. It is 29.5 inches in diameter. It's 25.5 inches tall. So we're going to build it out of 1/8 inch steel, and then he's going to come in and put brick and refractory inside of it so that it'll hold heat. So how are we going to do this? It's pretty simple, pretty basic. First thing we did, we went to the plasma table, put in a 29.5 inch diameter circle. We cut that out of 1/8 inch cold roll steel, and all we've got left on that is to clean the edges up, get the swap off of it. So that's our 29.5 inch circle. Now I've got a plate of 4x8, 1/8 inch plate that we need to build. We need to cut the strap out for the sidewall. It's got to be 25.5 inches tall, and according to my calculations, for the circumference of the circle, it's 29.5 inches diameter, but it's 92.68, something like that, inches around the circumference. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut a full 96 inch piece off of this 4x8 sheet, and then we'll put it through the roller. So let's get started with that. I'll show you how we got that set up. This is how we're setting it up. I've just got it on one of my steel tables. I've got some bracing under it going from one end to the other to keep it rigid while we cut it. I have marked, if you see this mark from here to that edge is 25.5. You see another mark right here. This is the mark that the guide on my saw will ride up, or the fence on the saw will ride up against. And we've got this 2-inch square tubing, excuse me, 1.5 inch square tubing that is clamped down to each end, and that will act as my rip fence for it. So this is about 2 inches from here to there. So what are we going to use to cut this? I am not sponsored by this company. I really wish I was, but I'm not. I've got this Evolution multi-saw, 833 multi-saw. It's basically just like a circular saw, just a little better built. Built to handle this type of cutting. It's got all the adjustments that a normal circular saw has. You can see you can change the angle of the deck so that you can cut a bevel. Here's the height control for your depths. There is a setup where you can run a track fence. I do not have that with me, so I'm not going to use that feature. I'm actually going to use the 1x2. So with this, make sure you are wearing hearing protection. Make sure you're wearing some kind of long sleeve shirt, because it throws a ton of metal, and eye protection. You need all that with working with this saw. Well, it didn't cut it great. You can see the wobble in there, and that's not the saw's fault, that's mine. I probably should have come in back here and just run a couple of tacks that I could have taken off with a grinder. I didn't think about it. But this side will be where we weld anyway, so I can clean that up. The factory side's gonna be the front of it. So at least it cut it, and it cut that whole piece, the whole 96 inches, probably took less than 5 minutes, if that. And that's with a very dull blade. I desperately need to order a new one. I just haven't got around to it yet. But let's see. You can see it's worn pretty good. So yeah, if you do a lot of sheet metal and you got to cut long runs, that thing's a blessing, man. Y'all need to look at them. Again, I'm not sponsored by Evolution. I have a couple of their saws, really like them, but it's just a really good product. So, all right, so we've got that cut. The next step's gonna be to roll it, and I'm gonna have to have some help for that. But let me show you how we did our roller. Okay, so I kind of told y'all we were cleaning up and rearranging the shop. And if you remember, right in here used to be where the brakes set. And it just made it difficult getting things to the back of the shop back there past the bandsaw. So now the brake is right here. And if you can look at the bottom, we still got to do some repair. This bar right here was bent originally. We're going to take that bar off and do like we did in the back, put a brace from one track all the way over to this other. But you can see I can actually pick it up with my pallet jack. And so now when I'm not using it, it'll sit back up against the wall. When I do need it, put the pallet jack under it, and I can rotate it out 90 degrees or straight out into the floor. And we'll be able to use it when we're done. Push it back up against the wall. As you can see, I can move it around fairly easily, as long as I don't get it off the ground where it's a little wobbly. But yeah, works out great, helps me move it, and I can move it around. Now, the other thing we did to save space is this. Here's my slip roller, and it used to sit right there where that cabinet was. Again, don't use it very often, but it takes up a lot of space. So we looked at it, and it's like, well, most of what we do is small bends, so we could actually put it right here, and for the most part, it's not going to be in the way. If we do need to remove it, we just take these bolts loose here and here, and we can remove the plate and this, or just take these bolts loose here and here, and they hold the roller, to that I-beam right there. Couple of benefits. By not bolting this directly to this I-beam, depending on where I need it, I can shift it side to side. So if I want to use it manually, you see that the handle's going to hit. I can take and slide it all the way down to this end, and the handle will clear. We do have a project where we're making an adapter to go onto this so that we can power feed this, but that'll be a little later down the road. So next step in the process, we've got to slide this down so that we're able to use the hand crank, and then we'll get ready to roll our 25.5 inch by 96 inch piece to make a loop. Okay, y'all. Shop safety is important. I didn't get a whole lot of video footage of us finishing up that build. Had had an accident, and it pretty much put me out of commission the rest of the night. So thankfully my son came out and helped, and I appreciate that. Then I come out to the shop and I see the aftermath. I had a clean shop. Oh well. Small price to pay for someone helping me get the project finished. Here it is. It took 3 of us to roll it. We had to have my daughter turn the handle on the roller while me and my son helped feed it, with it being such a long piece. But it did well. You can tell it's a little out of round right there. That's because on a roller you get about 3 inches of flat on each side, and we tried to straighten it or curve it, cut those pieces off, but thankfully it doesn't have to be perfectly round. The bottom is, because of the plasma table, thank goodness. So what we did, we rounded it, overlapped the edges right here, and then he put the piece in the bottom and then just went around it. Sorry about the finger. Tack welding the bottom into it, and then once he had that, he came over and cut about 3 inches right there, folded one section back on the other, welded it from the inside, and then went down to the bottom, did the same thing. Once he had those welded, he had put ratchet straps around it to tighten it. He took the straps off, cut the rest of the excess material off, and welded it in, and then flipped it over and welded the entire bottom. So that's it. We're going to try to get it to the customer. This is his leftover piece, so we'll carry that back as well because he provided the material. And we'll figure out how we're going to do everything else. Yeah. Please, please, please be safe in your shop. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We got it done. It's not what I would have preferred to have had happen on this job, but we did get it done, and we're going to get it to the customer. Thankfully, with what they're doing, it's going to be great. It'll work out perfect. They're going to line it with fire bricks and then put refractory over that so that it can hold heat. It should do the job just fine. So we're going to carry this back to them, and then we've got other jobs in the shop that have to be done. So we got to keep hammering away. Hey, thank you for all the new subscribers. Thank you for tongue-tied. Thank you to all my old subscribers for sticking around and being part of this adventure. Really looking forward to seeing what 2025 has for us. And with that, God bless you. Be kind to one another. I'll see you on the next one.